Hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Okay, today we are making a sun hat, and I am using this beautiful, there's still loads left, quilt fabric, quilt as in bedding. It's going to be reversible, and it's going to be the sort of hat that you would get in an Outback store, a walking store. Okay, now, if you wanted to make this out of a pillowcase, you'd be perfect, because it is the right sort of size. So, that's what I'm making. I know it's not very good drawing, is it? And these are my measurements, really. I know, I take some time. So first of all, we need to know the diameter of your head. Mine's 23, okay? Measure it from where you would wear the hat, okay? Type into your search bar on your computer what is the diameter of a circle 23 inches, or whatever yours is. Now, it comes back after you get loads of things trying to sell you maths programs that it's, for me, 364. So, which is fine, but we do need to know it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting off. I'm going to need 4 strips, okay, 2 of each colour, and I'm going to now make a circle. So, now this is going to be for the brim, and what I'm going to do is also make the bit at the top at the same time. Now the reason I'm doing that is to save cloth. If I was to do it that the top was the same size as the hole in the bottom, then I would have to buy fabric for this circle and then another piece of fabric for the circle in the middle. So it is going to be tapered slightly, but hopefully nobody will notice. It's not going to be tapered a lot, it's just literally my hem allowance. Okay, so we've got our piece of fabric and we need to make a circle as big as we can, or as big as we want, because if it's too floppy then it's going to fall over our eyes. But what we want is for it to shade our eyes and to sort of protect the tops of our ears from sun, and back of the neck is a terrible problem as well. So here we go. What I did then was I just held a pen and formed the circle. So this is as big a circle as I can make, which includes my top and my bottom. So now I have to work out how big the top is. I'm using a tape measure, and on the computer it said that it's going to be 364. So let's just mark that with the pen as well. Okay. Now you could use a compass to do all your hole cuttings, okay? Just because I did it doesn't mean a thing. So yeah, good idea, just have a little check. I wouldn't want you to do any work and then find that it doesn't work. So what I've got now is a circle and a rim, and that's going to one side. Put the lid back on the pen, and now I need to make the bit that holds it up. So I know that the circumference of my widest part is 23, so as long as I've got 2 strips of 11 I should be fine. Yeah? Yeah, 11 and a half. I'm going to call it 12 so I've got hem allowance, but yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm literally just cutting, roughly, pretty much, these 2 strips of fabric, and we can check the measurements that I have more than enough. Now, rather than cut them now, what I'm going to do is cut them after I've sewn them. Now, you'll see me do this quite a lot, and I'm sure it's infuriating for certain people, but I just find, yeah, why make life harder for yourself? So what I'm going to do is one of them I'm going to sew, well actually I'm just going to sew a line down both of them. So nice and easy. I can do a couple of reverse stitches. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. Now, because this is going to be pretty much inside out, then I don't need to worry about the seams too much, in the respect that they're not going to fray, because they're not going to be rubbed or anything. They're going to be sealed. I had a terrible thought that minute that I'd sewn the red one to the yes, but I'm sure a patchwork hat would look lovely. I really would. Okay, so yeah, just ignore me. What I have now is a strip. I'm going to take my red polka dot and I'm going to place the strip flat down and then place the circle on top. Now, this is great. Once you've got used to it, you'll find, what were you thinking, that you were ever scared of it. So I'm going to hold this straight and I'm going to tease this round. And it's great. It's no problem at all. Now, I know that I'm going to have excess. In fact, I should have an excess of 3 inches. But I'm not even going to worry. If it's more than that, that's fine. If it's less than that, well, that's fine, as long as it's not, doesn't actually meet up. Okay. So I've come to the end now of the top there, and I'm going to do the same again with the other one. So right side to right side, place it down, give myself a little bit of hem allowance, and literally it just curls round. It's so simple. I'm just literally pulling it over as it goes. Pulling is the wrong word, because I'm not. I'm moving it very gently, and you can see that it naturally follows round. So I'm coming up to the end of the circle now, and what I'm going to do is stop when I come to the end, okay, and I'm going to move this round. Now, it's really up to you whether you take it out of the sewing machine and then line it up. There's a lot to be said for that, because you could kind of go off at an angle. But once you've got both these ends straight, and then I'm going to go down like that. And I'm only going to do one side, because I'll need to turn it inside out. Lovely. So I've got my 2 pieces now, and I need to attach them to the brim. I'm going to very carefully make sure that this is at right angles when I trim it, trim off the excess from there, which I knew I'd have. You know, there's no 2 ways about it. Okay, so let's start with the white one. I have my circle, I have my white hat, and again I am going to keep right side to right side, and I am going to sew these together. But I need to make sure that I turn the hat inside out so that I am right side to right side. So, and again, it's a case of putting the circle down and then following it round. Now I haven't got it over this side because then I get all knotted up. And if I did start at that side, because it does sort of make sense that you sew round in a circle. And I'm adjusting every couple of inches. I've got this one going flat and the circle one I'm sort of pulling over. Although easing over would be a better word. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of them now. Lovely. So I've got to make sure now that I've got my circle tucked in, and I can literally, I'm not going to say I can pull it tight, but I can pull it round. So I've got my circle underneath, and then I've got my top. And now I'm just going to, once I've got it in position, sew it round. So that's that. I have to do the other one, the red one, and then I have to sew the two together. So if I turn that the right way round, we can see I've got a very thin, lightweight little hat there. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera because I don't want to bore you, but I'm going to do exactly the same again. Hello there. Okay, so now I've got my two hats. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the back is at the back, because that sounds fair, doesn't it? And I can pop a little pin in there. And because I want it to meet up at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a second just to put it round. Now remember that we haven't sewn up the red side. I've got a hole in here so I can turn it inside out. So let's just have a little tease and get these sort of together, because I wouldn't want a great big bunch at the end. So that's lovely. Now what we need to do is literally sew the circle as carefully as you like, really. Just a matter of making sure we've got both pieces of fabric. So one hand on one and one hand on the other, and just allow the machine to take it round. Now I haven't given myself much hemming allowance. If you were to give yourself slightly more, then what you would need to do is you would need to cut your brim band so you've got an angle in it. And obviously you need to make it a bit bigger, but I'm quite happy with this sort of level of hem allowance. And of course, if you wanted to make your brim a bit thicker and you didn't want it too floppy, then you would need to either put it interfacing, and that would just be a circle here. Okay, so I'm literally coming up to the beginning now. And there we go, a couple of reverse stitches just to hold it in place. Now I'm going to strengthen my rim by putting a seam around, a seam of top stitches, and this is just preference. And it really does depend on what fabric you're using, because I'm using quite crisp polycotton. Okay, so turned it inside out now. What I need to do is I need to seal up this seam. Now, it really is, do you put it on the white side or the red side? Now, I'm making this hat with my sister in mind. As you probably know, I'm very pale skinned, and believe it or not, my sister is even worse than me. So I do have to take care in the sun. And yeah, you know, sometimes you can't not be out in the sun. So we do have to take care of each other. Okay, so I'm going to, for no reason other than I am going to, just push the white polka dot inside. Now, it's still be reversible, but I'm going to just rub it with my thumbs, and I'm going to put a layer of top stitching on. And you could put a circle, a circle and a circle, and it still would be reversible. So I've got my start point anyway, and I'm putting it under the machine, and around it goes. Again, making sure the foot will actually help me with this. So I just pull those loose ends out of the way. And although I'm thinking a good couple of inches ahead, it's probably best not to sew a couple of inches ahead, because sometimes when you're doing things like this, you can pull it all the way around. So, and cotton colour as well. I'd just like to say, I am probably the worst. I can sit here for 5 minutes going, what colour cotton shall I use? And I do usually work on the theory that if in doubt, use white. I have got a lot of this salmon pink colour, so for home use things you'll see it quite a lot. There will be quite a lot of salmon pink. I know. It doesn't even cost 75p. I have no idea why I'm determined to use it up. So there we are. We have a red hat for the sun. I know, just to keep the sun out of my eyes. I've got a bit of red right there. And as if by magic, a white one. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's, today's episode. Stay safe in the sun, guys. Thanks for watching.